Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Thursday, October 1st, 2015. This is Texan TV News from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I'm Phillip Mullen. In today's headlines, the campus is full of news this morning. Tarleton's Sustainable Teaching Garden is beginning its fall season. Student broadcasters are celebrating, a homecoming deadline is just around the corner, the university releases a new report about crime on campus, and the campus police are getting body cameras. Plus, police find a burning body in Arlington, and a federal appeals court strikes down a college sports plan. For our top story today, in campus news, liquor law violations have more than doubled in the past year. Burglaries are also up by almost 100%, but sexual assaults have decreased slightly. This comes from Tarleton's annual security report for 2014. We interviewed students on the street to see how they feel about these trends.
So burglaries have almost doubled in the past 2 years, while sexual assault cases have more than dropped in the past 2 years. Do you think that Tarleton is still a safe place for students?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't really feel threatened. I normally feel safe, and then as long as you're just smart, I think you're okay. You know, lock your doors and keep your eye on stuff.
The crime report just came out, and sexual assault has gone down on campus while burglary has gone up. Do you think Tarleton is still a safe place for the students?
No,
Why?
because there's still crime that's happening on campus.
Do you feel safe on campus knowing that burglaries have more than doubled in the past year?
I'd have to say no, knowing that. I think something should need to be done about that.
And what about liquor law violations? What that means is instead of being arrested, they're just being sent to the disciplinary office. Should the police take a stronger stand on this, or do you think that it's fine that they're just getting some discipline?
I don't think that's okay, because then it's like a slap on the wrist, and it's not really a deterrent to stop them from doing it again. I think harsher measures should be taken to keep our campus safe and our community safe.
Additionally, police have put in a budget request for body cameras. Here's an excerpt from Tarleton's Police Chief Matt Welch about this.
A few other questions that we have for you have to do with one of the new budget requests that we have discovered.
Okay.
In the UPD's budget request, there's a request for body cams.
Correct.
And can you explain why you have this request?
The world is becoming more video centered, and everyone has a video recorder, seems like, on their phones these days. And you see a lot of things that happen with police in public, and sometimes you see just the last 30 seconds of something. And so it's good to have the entire story from before it happened through it to the very conclusion. And that way it gives everyone the big picture and a more accurate accounting of what happened. And so just us, along with most other agencies in the country, are moving towards having a body camera just to document and make sure everything's done fairly and equitably.
Now, are these videos going to be public?
If necessary, sure. Because you see all the time on the stories that when something dramatic happens, you see the video released, and I'm sure we'll do the same thing.
Right, because that's been going on quite a bit in the world, as we've seen with police brutality and everything else. So is that partly why this has come up?
Well, I mean, those kind of allegations here, but as a preemptive and proactive measure, I'd like to have that stuff put in place.
Have you all had any of those allegations?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's October, and we all know what that means. Homecoming floats, marching bands, mounted horseback riders, and vintage vehicles. Yes, homecoming begins on Saturday, October 17th at 10 a.m. If you want to participate in the homecoming parade, contact the Office of Student Engagement for an entry form. The deadline to submit these forms is Thursday, October 8th at 5 p.m. No walk-ups will be accepted. In more campus news, Tarleton had its very first fall planting in the Sustainable Teaching Garden. On Tuesday, squash, spinach, basil, and a variety of other vegetables and herbs were planted by students, faculty, and volunteers. Rachel Tuggle has the report on this Wildlife Sustainability and Ecosystem Sciences environmentally friendly program.
On Tuesday, students and faculty gathered to plant the 41 beds that make up Tarleton's Sustainability Garden, which is located by the Fine Arts Center. I spoke to Paula McKeehan, an assistant professor in the Wildlife Sustainability and Ecosystem Sciences Department, about the garden.
The Sustainable Teaching Garden is a project of the Department of Wildlife Sustainability and Ecosystem Sciences. It's an opportunity for us to be able to do research and to look at things that grow well in this area for our academic department, but it also serves as a community outreach to the whole entire Tarleton community, faculty, staff, and students, to allow them the experience to be able to come in and work in the garden, and also to be able to use the fresh produce to increase a healthy diet.
The vegetables and herbs grown in the garden will be used in McKeehan's food lab classes after the harvest this fall. Additionally, volunteers who have helped water, weed, and plant the garden will be allowed to take home some of the freshly harvested produce as a thank you. To volunteer, contact McKeehan at pmckeehan@tarleton.edu or call Sarah Murray at 254-968-9490.
Also, tomorrow is College Radio Day, a nationwide event where hundreds of college radio stations celebrate the art and the uniqueness that is college radio. KXTR has a full day planned for Tarleton students, Stephenville, and surrounding communities. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. in the amphitheater near the Student Center and Dining Hall. There will be live musicians from around the area, and the Grasper will also be handing out the 2015 yearbooks to Tarleton students. In Texas news from the Associated Press, Fort Worth police were investigating a grass fire in Arlington when they found a burning body tucked into a nearby wooded area. After fire crews put out the flames, homicide detectives were called to investigate. Officials say they have been unable to determine even the gender of the body due to the extent of the burns. The body is now in the hands of the medical examiner, who said the body may be female. In national news, the Associated Press reports that a man with a stolen gun killed a South Carolina police officer at a mall yesterday. The officer, Gregory Aaliyah, welcomed a baby son into the world just months before. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division said 34-year-old Jarvis Hall of Eastover is facing a murder charge in the death of the 32-year-old officer. According to an arrest warrant, Hall shot Aaliyah with a stolen .40 caliber pistol and was arrested immediately. The head of the Small Forest Acres Police Department, Chief Gene Seeley, met briefly with reporters several hours after the shooting to say Aaliyah died after being taken to a local hospital. The chief said Aaliyah was a 7-year veteran, a new father, and a lifelong resident of the Columbia area. Aaliyah was responding to the report of a suspicious person in the parking lot at the mall just before 8 a.m. The chief said Aaliyah confronted the person and the young officer was shot during an ensuing struggle. In sports news, according to the AP, a plan to pay college football and basketball players was struck down yesterday by a federal appeals court. The NCAA officials say that this supports their position that student athletes shouldn't be considered professionals. The court agreed that the use of athletes' likenesses and names in media were a violation of antitrust laws, but they also resolved not to allow schools to compensate players with an up to $5,000 per year payment. In today's weather forecast from weather.com, expect weather over the weekend to be partly cloudy with highs near 80 and lows near 60. Today's broadcast was produced by Rachel Tuggle, Christine Humphreys, and Justin Pack. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I'm Phillip Mullen. Tune in daily for the latest news from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.